Welcome back, everybody. Ready to dive into some everyday English words?
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Yeah.
This deep dive is all about those words you think you know, but we're going to uncover some hidden depths.
Oh, getting deep.
Haha. Yeah, we are. We've got excerpts from a language learning podcast,
Okay.
and they take a really cool approach, I think. You ready for this?
Yeah, lay it on me.
They use a short story to teach 32 common words.
Interesting.
So I'm excited to see what we can unpack here.
I think using narrative is a really clever way to learn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because our brains are kind of wired for stories, right?
That's true.
And we retain information better when it's embedded in a context that we can relate to.
Exactly. It's like sneaking in a vocabulary lesson while
Man.
enjoying a good story.
I like it.
And this story follows a woman named Emma
Okay.
through her day.
Yeah.
And along the way, she encounters all these useful words
Uh-huh.
in very relatable situations.
I see.
So what's fascinating about this approach
Wow.
is that it moves beyond just definitions. You're not just memorizing a list of words.
Yeah.
You're actually seeing how those words are used in different contexts.
Great. You see them in action.
And that helps build a deeper understanding of their nuances.
It really does.
Okay, so the story starts with Emma's morning routine.
All right.
Her alarm goes off at 6:30 a.m.
Oh, that's early.
And like many of us, she hits the snooze button a few times.
The snooze button is our best friend.
Definitely. When she finally drags herself out of bed, she's feeling pretty groggy.
Now, groggy is a fantastic word to start with. It perfectly captures that feeling
Oh, yeah.
of being disoriented and sluggish.
Uh-huh.
Not quite awake yet. It's informal,
Yeah,
but incredibly versatile.
it really is.
You can be groggy from lack of sleep jet lag or even a heavy meal.
You know what? Even like some medicines make you groggy.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a word that resonates universally.
I think so.
I know I've definitely felt groggy at a time or two.
Me too. Haha. So after stumbling out of bed, Emma makes a quick breakfast and checks her schedule to see what the day holds.
Standard stuff.
Yeah, but these might seem like simple words,
Yeah,
but they highlight how language reflects our daily routines
that's true.
and actually structures our lives.
You're right. I never thought about it like that.
Breakfast, for example, goes beyond just the meal itself.
I see.
It represents a cultural ritual,
Mhm.
a time for families to connect, or a chance to grab a quick bite before a busy day.
Yeah, it can be a very social thing.
Definitely.
And speaking of busy days,
Uh-oh.
Emma's schedule is jam-packed,
Yeah.
making her feel a little hectic.
Hectic.
I think that we've all been there.
Oh, yeah. Hectic is a word that has become increasingly relevant
I think so.
in our fast-paced modern world, right?
I agree.
It speaks to that feeling of being overwhelmed by activity,
Yeah.
constantly juggling demands and deadlines.
It can be a lot sometimes.
What's interesting is that it can apply to both positive and negative situations.
That is interesting.
Like a wedding can be hectic.
But so can a stressful work week.
That's true.
And if you trace its roots back to the Greek word for habitual,
Oh, wow.
you can kind of see how language evolves
Yeah.
and takes on new meanings over time.
I love that kind of stuff.
Me too. Language is so fascinating.
It's amazing how much depth there is
I know,
to
right?
even a simple word like hectic.
It's true.
So Emma heads off to work and jumps right into a meeting about a new project.
Classic office life.
Pretty standard office stuff, but essential vocabulary nonetheless.
Absolutely. Meeting implies collaboration, right?
Mm-hmm.
A coming together of minds to achieve a common goal.
Right, and you always need to have a project to work on.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
projects suggest a specific task with a defined scope and timeline,
Yeah.
adding a layer of intention and focus.
That's a good way to put it. And Emma definitely feels that focus as she dives into the project details.
Okay.
In fact, she quickly becomes overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work involved.
And decides to break it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Good strategy.
I think we've all been there.
This is such a relatable experience.
I know.
Overwhelmed captures that feeling of being inundated,
Yeah.
almost suffocated by tasks and responsibility.
Yeah, like drowning in work.
It's a word that transcends cultures and languages.
You're right.
And breaking things down into steps is a classic strategy
I think so.
for managing that sense of overwhelm.
It's very effective.
It's about taking a large, daunting task and making it feel more achievable
Right.
by dividing it into smaller, more manageable chunks.
That's a great takeaway. Feeling overwhelmed.
What do you do?
Break it down.
Break it down.
Now, during her lunch break, Emma chats with her colleagues about their weekend plans.
Fun stuff.
They talk about visiting a museum or trying out a new restaurant.
Nice.
Typical casual conversation topics.
But even these seemingly simple words
Right.
hold hidden depths.
Yeah.
Plans implies intentionality, a conscious decision about how we choose to spend our time.
Oh, yeah.
And museum opens up a whole world of language
Doug?
related to art history and culture.
So many possibilities.
It's a gateway to exploring different perspectives and expanding our horizons.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what about this section stands out to you? Are there any words you're already thinking about differently?
It's fascinating to see how even the most basic words we use every day
Yeah.
can reveal so much about our routines, our
Yeah.
values,
Right.
and how we interact with the world around us.
Our relationship with language is so interesting.
It is.
And we've only just scratched the surface of Emma's day.
Oh, yeah, there's more to come.
Emma's still got errands to run
Yeah.
and an evening to unwind, so stick with us as we delve deeper into this everyday vocabulary adventure.
Can't wait. All right, so let's rejoin Emma as she tackles those errands.
Errands, yeah.
We all have to face those.
Yeah, because even vocabulary heroes need groceries.
Exactly. After work, Emma has a few errands to run, which is interesting because errands, it implies a sense of obligation almost.
Right.
Like these tasks are items on a checklist.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
I do.
And I think this is where the story really shines a light on
Yeah.
those everyday activities.
Okay.
We often take for granted, but are full of useful vocabulary.
It's true. First up is the grocery store,
Oh, the grocery store.
a place that's practically universal.
It really is.
It's fascinating how this one-word grocery store
Yeah,
evokes a whole sensory experience.
it does.
The sights, the smells, even the sounds of a bustling grocery store.
I can hear the beeping of the cash registers.
Me too. The story mentions Emma picking up the essentials.
Okay. The essentials.
Milk, eggs, bread.
Yep.
Such simple words, but think about how frequently we use them.
All the time we do.
Right. And by placing these words in the context of the grocery store,
Yeah.
the story highlights this concept of categories.
I see.
Essentials is a broad term
Yeah.
that encompasses a whole range of products we consider necessary for daily life.
Right.
It's a word that reflects our priorities and needs.
Definitely. So speaking of essential places,
Okay.
Emma's next stop is the pharmacy.
The pharmacy,
Oh, yeah.
a word that often feels very clinical and transactional.
Yeah.
But think about the role it plays in our health and well-being.
You're right. It's crucial.
It's important.
And pharmacy is interesting because it represents a point of access to healthcare
Exactly.
for many
There are
people.
a lot of people, yeah.
And it's not just a place to pick up prescriptions.
Right.
It's often a source of advice and support from pharmacists.
That's true.
Yeah. And it's often where we encounter a cashier,
A cash, yes.
another seemingly simple word,
Right.
but one that highlights the human element of these everyday transactions.
Think about all the interactions
I know it's a lot, right?
that happen at a checkout counter.
So many.
It's a microcosm of social dynamics.
Oh, that's interesting.
From the quick hello to
Yeah.
the exchange of money to the polite thank you.
Right.
These small interactions are the glue that holds our social fabric together.
You're so right. And by the time Emma finishes her errands, she's feeling pretty accomplished. I think we can all relate to
Yeah.
that sense of satisfaction after tackling our to-do list.
Accomplished suggests a sense of competence and efficiency.
That's true.
It's a word that reflects our ability to manage our responsibilities and navigate the complexities of daily life.
That's a mouthful.
It is, but it's true.
It is true.
Okay, let's shift gears
Okay.
to Emma's evening.
All right.
She decides to unwind
Okay.
by watching a few episodes of her favorite TV series.
Series.
Series is a word
Yeah.
that has taken on new meaning
Really?
in the age of streaming, right?
Okay, I see.
It used to refer primarily to books
Huh?
or a sequence of events.
Yeah.
But now it's synonymous with binge-worthy television shows. You're right.
It's a testament to how language adapts to reflect our changing habits and interests.
That's pretty cool. And this particular series is so engaging
Okay.
that Emma completely loses track of time.
Classic.
I think we've all been there, sucked into a good story and suddenly realizing hours have flown by.
Engaging is a word that content creators strive for
I imagine.
because it suggests something
What does it suggest?
that captures your attention,
Yes.
sparks your curiosity, and keeps you coming back for more.
That's the goal, right?
That is the goal. It's about creating an experience
Yeah.
that resonates with the audience on an emotional or intellectual level.
It's the holy grail of storytelling, for sure.
I think so.
After her TV marathon, Emma makes a light dinner and calls her best friend to catch up.
Dinner is another deceptively simple word.
What do you mean?
It represents not just a meal, but a time for connection and sharing.
Yeah.
Whether it's a family gathering, a romantic date night,
Yeah.
or a casual hangout with friends. Right.
Dinner often serves as a social anchor in our daily lives.
I like that, a social anchor. And that brings us to the end of Emma's day. She heads to bed, feeling relaxed and ready for tomorrow,
Nice.
armed with a whole arsenal of new vocabulary.
It's remarkable how much we can learn about language and ourselves
You really can.
simply by following someone through their daily routine.
It's true.
These seemingly ordinary words reveal the richness and complexity of human experience.
And before we wrap up this deep dive, I'd love to hear from you.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the words that resonated with you most?
What do you think?
And how would you describe your day using some of these words? I don't know about you, but I'm already starting to see my own day in a new light.
It's like putting on a new pair of glasses and
Yeah.
suddenly noticing details you never saw before.
It's true. And I think this deep dive has really highlighted the
Yeah.
power of context in language learning.
Absolutely. We've seen how these 32 words come alive
Right.
when we see them embedded in Emma's day.
Yeah. It's not just about memorizing definitions.
Right.
It's about understanding how words function
Yeah.
in real life situations.
It's like the difference between reading a dictionary definition of groggy and actually experiencing that feeling
Yeah.
when your alarm goes off way too early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Context provides those layers of meaning and association
Right.
that make words stick in our minds.
Yeah. And plus, when we learn vocabulary through stories,
Right.
we're tapping into our innate love of narrative.
We are. It makes the learning process so much more engaging
I agree.
and enjoyable.
It doesn't feel like a chore at all.
No, not at all. It's an exploration.
And speaking of exploration,
Yes.
what I find particularly intriguing about this approach
Okay.
is that it encourages us to become more observant of language in our own lives.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Instead of passively consuming words, we're actively seeking them out,
Yeah.
noticing how they're used,
Yeah.
and even experimenting with them in our own conversations.
Exactly. It's about developing a curiosity about language
It is.
and a willingness to play with it.
I like that. Play with it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a challenge
All right, I'm ready.
inspired by the source material.
Okay.
Could you imagine writing your own day-in-the-life story using some of these 32 words?
Ooh, that's a great idea.
It is, isn't it?
You could swap out Emma's office for your own workplace,
Ah,
or her TV series for your favorite hobby.
that's true.
It's a fun and creative way to solidify your understanding of these words
I agree.
and make them your own.
And who knows? You might even discover some hidden depths
Oh, yeah.
in your own everyday experiences.
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless.
They are.
So keep exploring, keep playing with language,
Yeah.
and keep those vocabulary muscles flexed.
Great advice. Until next time, deep divers keep diving deep into the fascinating world of words.